welcome back to Modaufy Garage. I'm Alex, and on today's episode, you're getting a spoiler alert. What I really want to do though is understand why water's coming in through my spoiler into my boot lid on my 2007 Ford Falcon XR6. So join me and let's see if we can stop this issue from happening in the future. Okay, to get this started, we've got 2 bolts on this side, we've got 2 bolts on this side, we have a wire on this side, but before we actually do anything, make sure you get a cloth or some sort, so when you put your spoiler down on your paint, depending where you put it, you're not going to destroy it at all, okay? So let's get started and let's go. Okay, so looking at the bottom of the spoiler now, you can see that, or I can see, you might not be able to see that clearly on film, that Ford have just used some type of foam material. Look, the car's 13 years old, chances are it's shrunk, and it feels like it's just lost some of that bounciness, if that's a term I can use for now. So what I went and as you can see on the bench over there, I went to a shop and I bought a length of rubber around 1.5mm thick. I'm going to try and make a gasket out of that to try and seal this hole permanent, to try and stop the water coming in my boot permanently. So I'm going to try and take this off in one piece, transfer it to the rubber, cut it out, fit it back. I'll do both sides, and fingers crossed it fixes my solution of leaks in the boot. Okay, so I've managed to get both of these foam pieces off the car now. I'll actually show you up close on the camera, if you can see that, if it's focusing. You can actually see it's quite flimsy. There's not a lot to it, and you can see in some spots that it's really come down to nothing. Other spots it's a bit thicker, but look, it is flimsy. So I've got this rubber piece that I was talking about before. It's quite cheap. It's only cost me $12. It's 1.5mm thick, and I think it should do the job. I'll test fit it now, put it over the top, and let's see how we go. Okay, so I'm happy with the way that's fitting. I've chopped the left-hand side of the car. Sorry, I haven't chopped the left-hand side of the car. I've chopped the template for the left-hand side foot of the spoiler. It's looking pretty good at the moment, so just going to test fit it. Time to put the spoiler back on, tighten everything up, and go and test for water leaks again. So just remember, when you're putting it back on, be very careful, because you don't want to do any damage anywhere. So now it's time to pack up, take the car outside and do a leak test, and fingers crossed everything is working the way it's meant to be. Every time I opened the boot, when there was water in there, it would just dribble straight down here. So at the moment, it wouldn't take much for that to happen, usually after a car wash. So it looks like everything's worked. I'm extremely happy with the way this has turned out today. As you can see, I threw a couple buckets of water on it. At the moment, there has been no leaks. What I'll do, I will monitor that going forward. When I do another wash, the time you rinse it, put the snow foam on, all that sort of stuff, it will show definitely a leak, but I will definitely check it. Look, today, what did I use? I used a pencil. Anyone, you've got pencils at home. I used a Stanley knife. I did use a pair of scissors just to trim it up a little bit neater. And the only thing I really bought for this today was that piece of rubber. And I used, from one of my other videos where I took the door trim off, I used one of my trim removal tools just to scrape the excess foam. If you've got a car with a boot lid spoiler and it is showing, there are leaks coming from the boot, look, I'd suggest you try this method out first. If you like the video, hit subscribe. Sorry, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to keep up to date with all my content, hit subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next video of Modaufy Garage.